Hey everybody, and here we are at the big space. So, just a little outline of what to expect in this video. We're gonna do three things. First, we're gonna take the test, and I highly encourage you to take it with me. I'm gonna try to find a timer to put at the bottom. We'll put the questions up so that you can take it along with me. And then I don't know what kind of responses are gonna be in this test. I don't know if it's gonna tell us like we're a cucumber or what, or if it'll just say like you got 9 out of 11 or 20 out of 11 or whatever. I'm not sure, but I think you should take it with me. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. Second thing we're gonna do is once we take the test, I'll go through and we'll look at the right answers. So if you are taking the test, don't worry, we will have the answers in here and we'll kind of talk through how to get through those answers. And then the third thing is, because like I said, I am a recruiter, so I'm gonna give my thoughts on this test. I've been recruiting for nearly a decade, and so I've got a lot of experience under my belt, still a lot to learn, but I've got some experience under my belt. And I'll give my honest opinions on if this is, what kind of a tool this is, if it's a useful tool, and in what situations it would be useful. So I'm really excited. So let's go ahead and jump in and get it done. I'm a terrible opener. All right, so this is the deductive reasoning test. It's a free test. It's by Assessment Day Practiced Aptitude Test. We in no way endorse them. This is just, they printed the test off. But let's see instructions. This deductive test comprises 11 questions and there's a time limit of 70 seconds per question. Okay, so this will be done like 8 or 10 minutes. All right, 70 seconds and let's go. Time is 15:50. So that would be 3:50. Small silver watch displays the same time as the gold watch. Small silver equals gold watch. The bronze watch is small inside. Wow. The gold watch is 10 minutes slower than the large silver watch. Gold equals 10 slower, large silver. And the bronze watch is 5 minutes faster than small silver. Okay, the large silver watch states the time is 15:50. Let's start with the bronze. Bronze watch is 5 minutes faster than small silver. Okay, the gold watch is 10 minutes slower, so it's 15:40. The small silver watch is the same time, and the bronze is 5 minutes faster, 14:45 or 15:45. Bronze watch displays, that's true. Okay, it's another watch question. Bronze watch is the same size as the gold watch. The bronze watch is small in size. Same information as before. Insufficient information. Okay. And even though these look the same, I'm going through to make sure that the data is the same and I haven't changed something. $15.50. Adults. Museum will be fit by genre and title in alphabetical order. Depending on the B position for it. Element C. Element C lasts twice as long as element D. Medicine B will reduce the duration of element C by 12 days. I'm not gonna get this one. Medicine B halves the duration of element A and C. Element C. I'm gonna see 5 seconds. Okay. That was hard. Next one. Damn it. Same ailments. Okay. Ailment D lasts for 18 days. True or false? B equals 8 days. Element B is half of element D. Element D is 16 days. Element D's last. 25 seconds left. Next question. This is question 9 on the elements again. Taking medicine C will reduce the duration of element D by 11 days. Okay, so element D needs to be 16 days. I think this is the same information. Okay. Alright, the elements again. Element D lasts longer. All right, final question. Okay, totally new data set. International financial institutions establish a group of countries that provide financial services and professional advice and economic development. Okay, these generally receive donations from developed nations, offer foreign aid. Okay, they lend money to developing nations in the form of very long-term loans or market which is the grant. Okay, can the general argument be true? Which statement must be demonstrably false? Oh, this is gold. This is a straight up deduction. Okay. Don't know the answer to that one. Okay. Whew, just the next time again. Okay, I think that was the last one. Okay, so how'd we do? All right, let's jump into the answers, and hopefully we did pretty good. Okay, so the watch questions, and this is the first one. So the watch questions are just simple equivalency logic, right? So it's deductive reasoning at its finest. So it's basically saying if object A is this, if it's equal or greater than or smaller than B, and then we know if B has a relationship to C, then what is A and C's relationship? That's essentially what it's asking. It's giving us a bunch of these: A equals B, B is greater than C, C is smaller than D. It's giving us a bunch of those and then asking us to connect A to G, right? Okay, so in this first one, I think I got confused. I ran out of time. I put insufficient information. When I re-looked at it after all the music and everything, I think the answer is actually false. And so, yes, looking at the answers here, the answer is false. Yeah, and it's basically equivocating. Question 2, same thing. It's an equivalency question, deductive reasoning. So this one, the bronze watch, I put true. The correct answer is true. All right, question 3, another equivalency. I put insufficient information. Answer here, insufficient information. It's basically because there's only one statement for size, and that's the bronze watch, the one in the middle there. That's the only statement. It has no equivalency, right? It just says A equals small. It doesn't give A in contrast to any other item. So there's nothing that you can deduce. Yeah? Okay. All right, and then the final on this, the gold watch shows the same time as the bronze watch. I put false, and that's simply because we know that the bronze watch is smaller than the small silver watch, and the small silver watch is the same time as the gold watch. So the bronze watch is actually behind the gold watch. This is false, and that seems to be the answer here. Okay, and then we got on to the painter sales. Now, the painter sales one was interesting because it was more of how quickly can you process information. So it seemed to have less focus on true deductive reasoning and more focus on can you process information quickly and can you make rational decisions. So in this first one, it was basically asking us to quickly alphabetize and to understand which order. So it asked us to alphabetize by genre and then by title. So it's really just a quick test of how fast your brain can work. Can your brain comprehend those words and then can it do it correctly? And so I think I did it correctly. I chose painting V, painting 5, and that seems to be the answer here. Yeah, so basically you alphabetize by genre. So abstract are options 1 and 2. I don't even need to further alphabetize because I don't care about them. Classical is 3 and 4. I need to figure out between classical. Fugue is after desecrate, so therefore fugue is the 4th one. All right, painter sales again. This one came close to screwing me up, and I think it was just because the titles of these paintings were odd, and like it was called Remix and Fugue and Desecrate, and so it didn't seem, my brain wasn't comprehending that those were titles. But in the nick of the time, I think I came up with answer C, 1,500 pounds. Well, I know I came up with that answer. I think it was the right answer, and yes, it was the right answer, and it's simply because we're essentially just being asked to do a subtraction problem. That's all this problem was. Take 4,500 from 6,000. So the test here was how quickly you could process all the information you needed in order to get there. All right. Okay, and then on to question number 7, which is the ailments. So if you're keeping track at home and actually watching me take the test, I was griping quite a bit about the ailment questions. These are another set of equivalencies, right? So again, straight deductive, they're telling us A is B, right? And literally here, C is twice as long as D, right? Medicine A is half the duration of ailment B, right? So it's giving us these equivalencies and we just have to connect and figure out how to get from A to G again. So question number 7, taking medicine B will reduce blah, blah, blah. This is another one where I kind of just lost track of time and got confused, and so I put insufficient information. When I was reviewing it afterwards, the correct answer was false. So this one I got wrong, but question number 7, the right answer is B, false. Question number 8, ailment D lasts for 18 days. In my calculations, ailment D lasts for 16 days when you do all the equivalencies here. So I put false, and that seems to be the right answer. Question number 9, I put answer true. That's because ailment D is typically 16 days, but medicine C brings it down to 5. And that seems to be the right answer. And then question 10, the final of these ailment questions, I put as true. Taking the appropriate medicine, ailment D lasts longer than A. This one was particularly difficult because you had to find the equivalency of 2 things. First, you had to find the equivalency of the medicine, and then you had to find the equivalency of the ailment. and I guess 3 things, then you had to do the math to see how long each one was. So that one was a little trickier. But the correct answer there is true. And then the final one, so the multilateral development banks, again, pure deductive reasoning. They gave us 5 statements, and they said these statements are all true. Using these statements, deduce what is false. So if you saw me, it was going down the line on each one. Now the really cool thing here, so I put answer C, and that is the correct answer. Answer C is the correct answer for question 11. But so I went down the line. A, that looked true to me. B, that looked true to me. C, that looked false to me, but I wasn't certain if it was the right one. So here's my plug for confirmation bias, because any regular viewer will tell you we hate confirmation bias and try to mention it every episode we can because it's that important. C, I was afraid of undergoing confirmation bias, and I thought maybe that's what they were trying to test for, because sometimes, right, you go down the line, you see the first thing that looks good, and you stick with it, and that's what confirmation bias is, right? You just stick with it. And what you have to do in order to fight confirmation bias, right, the way we fight confirmation bias is by proving it wrong. So in order to do that, to keep going to D and E just to make sure they also were not false, because it might have been that one was better than the other. So I went through D and E, they were both true, so then I was proved correctly that C is right. And I could confidently put C because confirmation bias is real and we have to overcome it every day. Plug over. Yeah, so how did you do? Hopefully you took it and hopefully you did well. If you're comfortable with it, I'd love to see what you did. Leave us a comment. Tell us how well you did and what you thought of the test. Have you taken these tests before for employment? Or maybe I've been out of college and high school for a while, so maybe they do these sorts of things there now. Let me know. I'd love to hear what the state of these tests are in the US, but then throughout the world as well. Also, elephant in the room, yes, this is a different day. We ran out of time for recording and I wanted some time to kind of put my thoughts together. So I have 3 thoughts on this test. The first, kind of digging into me a little bit. So like I said, I'm a recruiter, I've been doing it for a while. And I have to say that we are always, me and my colleagues and just general recruiters, are always looking for new tools to help us get to the heart of someone's skill set. I think it's easy, and it seems easy. But in reality, humans are very complex, right? And there are so many things that a lot of our standard recruiting practices assess that have nothing to do with your ability to get a job, right? Anybody who's ever interviewed with someone or has heard an interviewer talk about a handshake, right? You're like, oh, they didn't have a good handshake. I've heard that in my career. That has nothing to do with your performance in any way whatsoever. But it's one of those things that we attribute value to, we humans. And so that's one of the things that us recruiters have to really be aware of and take into account. And, not fall for that trap of, oh, I only want to recruit folks who have strong, firm handshakes. No, it has nothing to do with your performance. These are what I call predictive indicators. And these are things like handshakes, how you sit in the room. I've heard this before. I've encountered hiring managers who are like, I don't want anybody who chooses the power chair in the room, right? Which is the chair that faces the door that has a back against the wall. It has nothing to do with anything. Where someone chooses a chair, there's so many factors that go on there. It could mean that they've got a power complex, but it could be a million other things. So those are the things we have to sort out. So hopefully that sets the stage for my 3 thoughts on this test. The first, and I had to write these down, so forgive me for kind of looking at my book as I'm talking. The first, what I really liked about this test is that it does quantify a skill that otherwise is pretty bad to quantify, right? So in my opinion, I think this test does help remove one of those predictive indicators. Because if you're looking for somebody that has good judgment and good decision-making skills, this test quantifies it pretty okay, and I'll get into some of the nitty-gritty here in a second. I think without this test, without some quantifying tool like this, then you will rely more on predictive indicators, right? You'll rely, oh, you went to a good school, you must have good decision-making skills, right? Oh, you came from this great company, you've worked here before, they've got good decision-making skills, right? So you must have them. So I think without this certain set tool, you might rely more on predictive indicators, which would be a bad thing. So that's my first thought. So the second thing I think is that this test is pretty careful of over-indexing on predictive indicators, right? So it's not relying on it. And I guess this ties in with my third thought, maybe they're the same thought, but that it ignores initial pitfalls that a lot of tests do. So the issue with a lot of IQ and EQ tests, the reason recruiters don't use them, at least in the United States, is because they can be incredibly biased on a lot of different areas. So one, a reliance on known or preferred knowledge, right? So if you have a test on just general knowledge, there's going to be a bias there. Who wrote that test? What knowledge are they? Is it more science heavy or history heavy or math heavy, right? IQ tests are very subjective, incredibly subjective. They also are very culturally insensitive, tend to be, right? So people from different cultures might value different types of knowledge, different types of information, and IQ tests can't really quantify that. And so I think this test did a pretty good job of trying to solve for that, trying to take that out of the equation. So they didn't expect you to bring any prior knowledge into the test, right? If they did, that would have skewed it, and I wouldn't have been a fan of it. If they evaluated you based on how much you knew about history or science, or did you know what the atomic weight of gold was, right? That I would not be a fan of. So this tried to solve for that by telling you, don't bring any outside knowledge, just use the information in this text. So I thought that was a pretty good decision on there. And also they tried the test concerned things that were culturally neutral throughout the world. So if you were from India or Alabama or Iceland or anywhere in between, so long as you can read and speak English, which is a skill that some jobs would need to qualify, so that's okay. As long as you can do that, then you can understand these questions. So in the end, I mean, what do I think? I think this is a pretty cool test. It didn't tell us what kind of a cucumber we were, or what our spirit animal is, but it was a cool little tool for evaluating how quickly folks can reason. Yeah, so I think that was kind of cool. All right, hey, I am very curious to see how everybody did. So please leave your score. Tell me if you're comfortable with it. I would love to see just kind of general what the audience. We got a little shy of 300 subscribers, so I'm curious what a couple hundred folks who watched the show, how you thought, and how you did. Maybe it'll be a nice little bell curve. All right, hey, thanks everybody. If you have questions, curiosities you want to include, let me know. Would love to hear them. If you have ideas for the show, please let us know. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great weekend. And as always, be kind to yourself and the people around you. All right.